Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to our Behind Her Brand Monday Morning Brew. This morning, I don't know if y'all can see it. My really good friend Michelle Goddard, we had a retreat not too long ago, and she blessed me with this beautiful cup. I just think it's so beautiful. And the scripture on it says, "The Lord delighteth in thee," Isaiah 62:4. It's beautiful. So I'm drinking my brew from this cup. So today, if you saw the topic, you're probably like periods and commas, like what is this about to be today? And I'm going to read a little bit of excerpt for something I've been working on, but I wanted to kind of preface why I wanted to talk about periods and commas. Um, I'm sure many of you guys can relate to this. There's times in our lives where we feel like we're supposed to keep moving, and times that we're not supposed to move. And then there's times where we're like, okay, God, are we supposed to move? Stop, do this, do that. And oftentimes that can create sometimes a sense of frustration, sometimes a sense of stress, sometimes a sense of uncertainty in terms of what you need to be doing or not to be doing. So you probably have heard these two phrases, and I'm going to break them down a little bit today. First phrase is, don't put a period where God has placed a comma. And the other one, don't put a comma where God has placed a period. And I wanted to talk about this today because I'm faithfully around women who are called to all type of things, from ministries to building organizations, building communities, businesses, writing, creatives, all the things. And so often I find that there are times where God has given them so much to do that they question if they're supposed to be doing things. So what they do is they put a period where God is saying, no, I want to put a comma. So instead of working on multiple different things, they're saying, well, no, I don't have the time, I don't have the space, I don't have this. And so all the different things kind of come up with what they can't do, what they don't have time for. I don't have the resources. So instead of moving full throttle into what God has called them into, they put a period. And when I see that, it's always so hard for me to see, because so often we are multifaceted. We have multiple gifts. We have multiple talents. And there are seasons where God wants you to do multiple things, even if humanly you feel like, I can't do all these things right now. I can't work on this book and podcast and event and this and that all at one time. And God is saying, no, you can, because I'm going to give you the strength to do so. And I wanted to cover this today because I want to encourage you that if you're in that particular place right now where you're feeling an overwhelming sense of all these things you need to do now, write that book, launch that podcast, host that dinner, host that event, whatever it is. And you're like, but my plate, what my eyes are seeing doesn't match the ability, doesn't match the space, doesn't match the time, it doesn't match any of that. Like, I can't do this. But if God has put that on your heart and He has said, I need you to do these different things, I have found if you don't put a period and you just allow that comma to be there, saying like, and small pause, but we're still keep moving, He will cause things to literally open up for you. Space, resources, time, all the different things that you need to be able to step into that place. I find if you put a period where He didn't intend for you to put a period, it's almost kind of like stopping. If you imagine like a wall and you have all these different blessings and things that are supposed to be flowing through, but there's a wall. It's hitting because you chose to stop and say, nope, my eyes right now sees everything on a busy schedule. It sees this, it sees that. So I'm choosing not to move forward. You could be blocking the very thing that you need to be able to accomplish all the things that God has put in your heart to desire. Okay. On the other side of that, don't put a comma where God has put a period. Works in reverse. It does. There are times where we're trying to make things happen, make moves that are not coming together. We're trying to build organizations, businesses, and ministries off of what everybody says to do, but it's just not working the same. You're doing all the right funnels, you're doing all the right marketing tactics, you're doing all the right marketing things, you're putting out the messages, you're doing all the things, right? And you're forging ahead, but it's still not coming together, where God may say, period. No, I don't want you to do it that way. Nope. I don't want you to create that event. I don't want you to write this. I don't want you to launch this, that, and the other. Or maybe I don't want you to move like everybody is moving. Period. Halt. Stop. Don't do nothing. Oftentimes, if we don't lend our ear and really be sensitive when He's telling us to do a hard stop, we can also interrupt things that He wants to do in our lives. And I'm gonna give you guys a good example for this. Many people know, and some of this y'all may not know, Behind Her Brand actually started over a decade ago. There's been a lot of new women who've come around in the last couple of years, but Behind Her Brand has actually been around for going into our 11th year. Okay, what we started out as just doing books. There's nothing but books. No conferences, no retreats, no community, no any of that. No Facebook, no Instagram. No, we didn't. It was just strictly we did books. They all had 12 women. And all the books were same premise, the lessons and journeys, but it was beautiful because it went into different industries. We had different corporations say, hey, can we do 12 women of our executive leaders? We had cultural books where people were saying, hey, I want a book for just Latino women and things that we go through. We had engineers, we had teachers. It was for several years, and we had author events. And here's the thing, our author events were like some of the most amazing networking events. Some of you guys have probably been to some of them, and it started growing fast, y'all. We would have anywhere to 100 women come out for an author event, and they may not even know none of the authors. They just love the networking opportunities. So we were at the height of growth, and I heard God say, period. And I was like, okay. I'm looking at a room of 100. I'm looking at that we have upcoming author events that are just growing rapidly. And I heard God said, it's time to stop. And I'm like, my natural eye, it didn't make sense. Looking at the growth, it did not make sense. Looking at what it was becoming, it did not make sense to say, stop, put a hard stop, right? And so I did. And then I went through some life transitions, and then I heard God say, do it again. And now, mind you, I put a hard period because he had told me to. And the reason why he told me to is because he was changing up the entire format, changing up everything. I mean, for 3 years, I did nothing Behind Her Brand. And so when he says move forward, I was like, okay. And I heard magazine, comma, podcast, comma, conferences, comma. You see where I'm going, right? And so while he was adding and adding and adding, to some, it's felt like, okay, you're doing a lot. But no, I'm listening to his commas. I'm listening to how he's moving things literally step by step by step. And every iteration that he had me move in, I started to see the different people I was interacting with. I started to see how his hand was moving in my life. I started seeing how there was connections being made between women at certain times through the event, through a retreat, through the podcast, through connecting online. Like every comma was literally creating new levels of connection and interactions. Had I said, okay, God, I'm only going to listen to the period and not listen to your commas, Behind Her Brand wouldn't be what it is today. So when I say here, like, don't put a comma where God has put a period, there are times where he'll tell you, hard stop, period, don't move. And then there's times where his comma, keep going and trusting it. I can tell you now, every time I step through a new comma, whether it was Behind Her Brand or in my personal life or in any iteration, honestly, around me, I didn't always have the time. I didn't always have the space. I didn't always have the resources. I didn't always have the connection. I didn't always have everything that I needed for every comma he was adding to my life. But when I stepped into it, I started to see, okay, the minute I trusted the step, I trusted the comma, I trusted the timing, I trusted those seasons. Because of the step and the trust, he said, I'm meeting you at every step. Every step you take, I'm meeting you. Every act of faith, I'm meeting you. Every act of obedience, I'm meeting you. You see where I'm going with this, right? So if you have a hard period, trust that. And if you're asking, well, Kim, how do I know it's a period or comma? I find one of the simplest way to answer that is there's this level of peace. And we hear in the Bible, it talks about that passes all understanding. That's the truth. There's a level of peace that won't always make sense to what your eyes see. It won't always make sense to people around you. But if there's something in you that says, no, this feels right. If the God is saying pause on that, do that. That sense of peace might be adding another comma. When your schedule looks like, man, I can't add nothing else. And God's saying, no, add it. Add it. And you're like, but God, add it. Right? When you have that level of just peace, even if it doesn't make sense, you'll know very clearly if it's a pause or a comma. You will. It'll be very much in line with where he is speaking in your life. It'll be very much in alignment with where he's taking you. Nothing is going to cause confusion. Nothing is going to cause frustration. When you know that is really from him, that peace will eliminate any form of any contradiction to what he already called you to do. Okay. So I just want to encourage you, and I'm going to read the two statements again. Don't put a period where he's placed a comma. Okay. Don't stop what he's moving in your life. Even if everything doesn't make sense, don't stop it. Don't stop the move that he wants to put in you. Don't speak in your mouth, I don't have time, I don't have resources, I don't have this. Don't do that. Please don't do that, because there's so much that he has for us. He's a limitless God, and he knows how we're wired. He knows that we may get in our heads, but the minute that we can break through the things that we may limit ourselves with, we are stretched to the capacity that he has designed for us. So don't limit God. And the second one, don't put a comma where he's placed a period. Like, don't stay in something, don't move in something, don't do anything that he said, stop, 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 stop. Because you'll keep meeting yourself with frustration. You'll keep finding that you're not, and then a lot of times, it's a small caveat. If we put a comma where he put a period, there are times where we can start thinking, well, God, where are you? And we start questioning things where he's saying, no, I'm telling you, hard stop right now. I'm telling you, pause. I'm telling you, let's take a minute, let's take a break. And it's not so much that he doesn't want something for you, is that he's trying to have you pause for a second to maybe talk to you, maybe work on things that you don't even see is being worked on. Maybe he's putting your names in rooms that you don't know is being spoken of right now. Maybe there's things that he's recrafting within you or around you. You never know what that period is for. You never know. You could have never told me in a million years, y'all, I would have a magazine, ever. Okay, and I love magazines always. But you could have never told me that, because I didn't have a blueprint for it. I didn't have mentors for it. I reached out to people who had them, and they would not help me at all. Not me now, not at all. So we created Behind Her Brand with just me and God. And he just had me research, and he kept giving me the step and the step and the step and the step. Okay. So that's trusting in his periods and commas. Okay. So I would love to hear just your thoughts on this. I'm going to keep it simple today. Just your thoughts on this. Your periods and your commas. How do they show up in your life? All right, ladies, have an amazing, amazing day, and also an amazing week. And I look forward to hearing from you. Tag some women in here, so we can keep the conversation growing and going. And I appreciate all of you that really do share the Monday Morning Brews. It means a lot to me, because my prayer, my goal is that we continue to expand this platform that God has given all of us. It's not mine, it's for all of us. All right, talk to y'all soon.